Welcome to Ecotopia U Media. I'm your host, Melissa McGinnis, joined by my fabulous co-host, Tom Wright.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. We have a wonderful guest today. Peggy Meyers is joining us. Is it Meyers?
That's right.
So lovely to meet you, Peggy. Thank you for joining us. Where are you Skyping us from?
Hi, it's a pleasure to be with you. I am here in lovely Eugene, Oregon.
Lovely Oregon.
Yes.
Well, wonderful. Tom has been speaking such high praises and lovely things about you. And I guess we've been interviewing or starting our interviews with our guests is asking a little bit about your background.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell you how I got to where I am today. I don't have a chemistry degree. I'll start out with that because a lot of the people who work at Omri do. My degree is in business and administration with an emphasis in marketing, and that's really where a lot of my experience has been. I started out working in nonprofits about, over 20 years ago. I've worked for the Girl Scouts, I worked for a humane society, I worked for an organic certifier, and now I'm working for Omri. Also during that same period of time, I have a lot of experience in organic companies. I worked for a small natural food store, for Whole Foods, Earthbound Farm, which is North America's largest organic produce brand, California Certified Organic Farmers, or CCOF, which is one of the oldest and largest organic certifiers in North America, and now Omri. So between my interests and my passion for organic and nonprofits, that's what all led to me being here today as the executive director here at Omri.
Explain to us what Omri, the initials mean, and then explain sort of the mission of Omri.
Sure. Omri stands for the Organic Materials Review Institute, and our mission is to provide review services for input materials. Those are things like pest control products, fertilizers, sanitizers, and that sort of thing that are used in the production of organic products, and we evaluate them to determine whether they're compliant to organic standards. So our review program is our biggest program. We also have programs in education and technical assistance where we provide training for certifiers, we give presentations on organic inputs, and so that's part of our mission as a nonprofit, is to share information and education to people inside the organic community as well as those that are not in organic.
So are you hired by companies to do like the evaluation of organic processes?
Right. We are a nonprofit organization, and we get most of our income from fees for services. So you're absolutely right. The companies who produce the products pay us up front to evaluate their products, and they pay not knowing whether they're going to be listed or whether their product might be prohibited. So our procedures are transparent, our policies are transparent, and that is how we operate.
Do you offer like a certification once it's... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, it's similar to certification. We don't call it certification simply because that's reserved for organically certified food and fiber products. So in the terms of the accreditation world, we're considered a certifier, but in the organic world, we're considered a material review organization.
Wonderful. What's great what you do.
Are you mentioned at all, does the NOP, the National Organic Program, does it mention Omri specifically, or
Yeah, it does. We are not specifically accredited by the National Organic Program like certifiers are. However, we do have official recognition from the NOP. They have a policy memo called Policy Memo 11-4. You can Google it online and pull it up.
11-4, I'll remember that one. 11-4, yeah.
It does state that certifiers have different options for doing material review. They can do it themselves. They can accept the decisions of another certifier, or that memo specifically calls out Omri as an independent third party who certifiers can rely on. So we do have that recognition from the NOP.
And are you active in more countries besides the United States? Is Omri active in more countries besides the United States?
Well, we've been operating in the Yes. We've been operating in the United States since our founding in 1997. We launched a review program for Canada 2 years ago, so that was really the new program for OMRI in our history. And one of the things that I'm doing on an international level is staying informed about what's going on internationally in other countries, because we do want to continue to grow. That's part of our vision, is for OMRI to grow. And the question is, how and where do we grow? What countries or regions of the world do we grow into? And so that's something that's currently on my plate and something that we're looking at as an organization.
Well, I'm assuming, we just had a conversation earlier about organic really going into the mainstream populace. So I would assume that the need for your organization would be tremendous. So the growth is
right. Yeah. In fact, as I said, we have programs in the United States and Canada. We don't operate, for example, in Korea and Germany and so forth. But I've talked to people in those countries. They know who OMRI is. They use our list for references. And even countries who don't have organic standards, the producers there will look at the OMRI list as reference for things that they might be using. I should also mention, too, that one of our goals in the next couple of years is to actually reach out beyond the organic community and to provide education to non-organic producers, because we do know that conventional farmers, even if they have no intention of being certified organic, will adopt organic practices and will use organic input materials. So we do want to reach out to them and invite them to learn from us, even if they're not going to be part of the official organic community.
Or even to find out how bad
that's true.
How bad their system really is. They might not know.
Now do you,
True.
So there's sort of either a transitional or a low input method called IPM, integrated pest management. Are those the folks that you're alluding to? Are those the kind of folks that are coming your way, or?
Well, I wouldn't say that they've necessarily been coming our way, but that is the type of group that we want to reach out to, because IPM, definitely they'll use some conventional chemicals, but then they'll also use some less toxic alternatives as well. So that is definitely a group that we want to target. Yeah. The other group, too, that I should mention that we want to reach out to are consumers, like all of us, because there are some OMRI listed products that are suitable for your home, lawn, and garden that you can find in your home and garden store, and you just look for the OMRI seal on them.
Yes, I know. I'm just developed a private label compost and potting soil for Whole Foods Market, and it's being bagged at Agromin.
Okay.
And it's going to be an OMRI listed couple of SKUs of OMRI listed soil amendments.
Perfect. That's great.
Yeah. Now, so we're talking organic. So was there any particular epiphany that you yourself had about organic that shifted your awareness? And was this as a consumer, or were you already in the profession, or what is there a story here?
Yeah, there is, Tom, and actually I became an organic consumer before I became an organic professional. This was back in the mid-1980s, that my husband and I decided that we wanted to become vegetarian. And so we did. We started paying more attention to what we ate. Then in 1988.
Oh yeah, back there in 1888. Yes, go ahead.
See what organic does.
Organic has done well for you.
I'm over 100 years old. And in 1988, we decided to take a step further and really became vegan and adopted a vegan lifestyle. And we really were paying attention, reading the labels on everything that we bought and paying attention to how the food was grown. And that's when we really went, oh, wow, this is what organic is about. This is what we want to buy for ourselves. And we started shopping, at the old time natural food stores, where you had to shop back then because there weren't Whole Food stores, and you couldn't find organic in your grocery store at that time. So it definitely was a personal decision that's very important to my husband and me, which then ultimately led both of us into work in the organic industry. So we combine our passion and our work together, and so we're both really happy in what we do.
Wow, great story.
That's wonderful. Well, it does seem to be treating you well. You do have absolutely stunning skin.
Oh, thank you.
So very good. Do we see any trends happening?
Yeah, what's the trajectory? What's it for
Yes.
both you as OMRI, but you as, professionally, yeah.
Right. Well, I think the trends that we're seeing, of course, in the big organic world, is we're seeing more equivalency arrangements between countries. Where, for example, if you produce something as organic in the United States, you can sell it as organic in the European Union and not have to do anything more. So we're starting to see more of the globalization of organic. At the same time, part of my work as a world board member for IFOAM Organics International, I'm meeting people around the world and finding that, we're looking so closely at the United States and our regulations and what we do here, and I am having my eyes open to what goes on globally, and the fact that certification doesn't happen in all countries, that in some countries it's more of a peer review system. So globally, that's what I'm seeing. Here in the United States, what I'm seeing is just increased growth. Like we were seeing about 10 years ago, there was a little dropping off in growth when the recession hit, but now we're starting to see the double-digit growth again in the organic industry, and also here at Omri. We have added, I'd say, at least 10 new staff positions in the last couple of years just to keep up with our growth and the number of input products that are being developed. So there's a lot of innovation out there, and people trying to come up with more tools that are available to the farmers and processors in organic. And like I said, here at Omri, we're specifically looking at how and where to grow. And the other thing, too, that I might mention is I think technology is key to organic. For us, for example, we have data that's important to certifiers, it's important to a lot of people in the organic industry, and we're trying to figure out, instead of producing these lists that we publish in hard copy once a year, or instead of going to our website where the data is uploaded every 2 weeks, I really want to see real-time data that can flow back and forth to the people who need it, and Omri, the owners of the data that's valuable. So I think technology is the thing that we need to be watching for in the future.
Just, okay, so right-in-time information type of thinking. Interesting.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Just-in-time information.
Yes, correct, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's really, I'm not sure if I'm accurate with this, but it would seem to me that it would be positive to have more of a global approach to some of these standards, so you could sell something organic here in another country. Yes or no?
So answer this question. I know the NOP pretty well. I mean, I remember reading it one time, and I've noticed that in the NOP it really doesn't talk about the carbon content of the soil. It doesn't mention it at all. Now, some other countries actually mention the carbon content of the soil. Do you notice these differences yourself as more? This is not so much as Omri, I guess. This is more you as Peggy, the professional. Do you notice these differences? Yeah. And do you feel the United States is a little behind the times, or are we just different? Yeah. And we like to be different? Or
that's interesting. I would say that we're different. Yeah, I wouldn't say we're behind the times. We just choose to focus on different things. And you're right that carbon content is not included as part of the U.S. standards. I'm not real familiar with other country standards, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that it's included. And there are a number of things that are not included in the U.S. organic standard, which is a process-based standard. We look at how the product is processed. We don't necessarily look or test the final product. So I think that there could be improvements. For example, in the United States, we don't really have a social justice aspect to organic standards, which Correct. A lot of people want to see. That's more of the fair trade certification. We're starting to see more animal welfare included in the standards, but again, there are organizations that have animal welfare standards that people are looking at. So there's organic, and then there are all these associated certifications as well. So there really isn't one certification that covers everything, unfortunately, and what that leads to are packages that you've got 10 different seals on them. That's unfortunately confusing to consumers.
Yeah, I call it the NASCARization of the package too, because it's got all these logos on it. Now you mentioned IFOAM, so help the audience with what IFOAM is and what it means, because it is one of the more pertinent organizations.
Yes, IFOAM stands for the International Federation of Organic Agriculture Movements, and it is a nonprofit organization. It's been in existence for about 40 years, and is the umbrella organization for organic globally. There are members from all continents, from almost every country of the world who are members of IFOAM, and it really pays attention to everything going on in organics around the world. It's really an advocacy organization, so they do get involved with policy issues and advocacy issues as well as education and events and so forth. So it really is, as I said, the global organization for organic worldwide, and it is well known in just about every country of the world.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for all that you do, Peggy. It's lovely to meet you. It's so inspired by your just personal story and also professional story, and I hope that we can revisit with you again.
Yeah, we'll call this chapter 1.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and I do look forward to chatting with you again.
Okay.
Thanks, Peggy. Talk
Bye-bye.
to you soon.